Hello everyone. If you are watching this video, it's because you may be concerned about your grade on the resumes and cover letters assignment for this course. Um, to be perfectly honest, when I received some of these documents in the Dropbox, I was a little disheartened. I had thought when I organized this course that there had been adequate time in order to create solid resumes and cover letters. I also felt that adequate resources were provided, considering that Kristen Underwood came in and talked and provided us with handbooks, and that I canceled a day of class to have individual meetings about resumes and cover letters if you had any questions or wanted me to look it over for those fine-tuned details. Um, it seems in some cases that these resources were not utilized, and that is a little disheartening as an instructor. But there are also possibilities where perhaps the instruction was unclear to you, or perhaps this assignment was not a priority to you at that time, and I completely understand that. Whatever the motivation is behind some of your grades, if you are concerned about your grade, please watch this summary of trends so that you can figure out what it is that we were looking for, where we went wrong overall, and what you can maybe do to earn back some points. So first, the positives of the resumes. Overall, the resumes were much better than the cover letters. Professional font. Um, I was expecting to have at least one crazy font of some kind, and I did not. There were a variety of fonts, but all of them were professional and appropriate. It's a small thing, but it's something that's easy to overlook, so well done there. Similarly, it's easy to overlook contact information because it's just natural. It's inherent to us. So it's easy to forget to add that. But no one forgot it. It was all there. It was all clear. It was all consistent. And so well done to you on remembering that. I was also starting to see a really nice range of experiences. It was nice to kind of see you as individuals start to pop up, and I could see where all of your high school and college thus far coming into play on these resumes. And I think we're all in a position where we have the skills and the experience to get the jobs that we want. It's just a matter of being able to present those skills on paper. And some of you were using professional objectives, which I find to be very important. Those objectives, in some cases, could have been a little bit more specific to the job posting, but that's all right. It was a great start. Now, on to the resume negatives. A couple of issues here that I think are really important to consider. Perhaps at the top of the list is the inconsistency of formatting. There were cases where dates were at different places. Some job postings had addresses, some didn't. Um, Bullet points were used inconsistently. Some of these were really quite a mess. Even things as simple as having the same sized font or the same font, even. Um, Remember to be consistent with your formatting. The reason why. The reason why we are consistent on resumes is because it creates a pattern that makes it easy to read. If an employer is reading your resume and you suddenly change the formatting halfway through, their pattern that they were using to read quickly is gone. Maybe they can't find the dates of employment because it was in one place for one job and then in a different place for another job. So please, be consistent with your resume formatting. You can format it in a variety of different ways. Just make sure that it is consistent and clear. Description and full development of experience was lacking, especially for those of you who maybe have less experience than others. Don't just list that experience and then let it go. You can take the time to think about what skills you developed, what your tasks were in that job or that experience, and if you held any variety of positions from that experience. That would be a great way to develop the resume. So if you don't have a lot of experiences to list, consider pulling out the details of those experiences to develop your resume more fully. Speaking of experiences, lots of them tended to get lumped together. Now, what was happening here? It's so many of you had related experiences that then didn't get distinguished or weren't put in an organized fashion, and that's problematic. One thing I noticed was that in this class we have lots of sports management majors, and so as is natural with sports management, there was coaching experience and athletic playing experience, both of which are very important for sports management positions. But they were kind of getting crisscrossed and mushed together. Each of them helps you develop a distinct set of skills. So even if they are placed next to each other, they should still be separated in some kind of clear and consistent way. So maybe you have a large category of work experience, but then underneath that you can have athletic experience, and underneath that athletic experience you can have coaching experience and playing experience. There are multiple different ways to format it, but just make sure that similar experiences aren't getting lumped together. There should be a clear and distinct reason why things are placed together, and why things may be farther apart than others. This was a big one. No job posting was provided. And I will say overall, those who provided a job posting to me got better scores. This is not necessarily because you didn't provide a job posting, but it indicates to me that maybe you didn't look at a posting at all, or that you didn't look at a posting closely. Um, if you have a job posting that you are working for, you're going to be able to provide more detail on your resume and cover letter because you can pinpoint exactly what they want and you can address each of those wants in turn. Um, and that's just something that showed itself time and time again. Those who provided a clear job posting had better detail and better development of both resume and cover letter. One thing that Kristen Underwood suggested was having kind of a master resume and then copying and pasting into a new document for specific jobs. I think that's a great way to approach it, and I think that's where there were some things going wrong with these resumes. There was so much that you wanted to try to fit in, or you just were feeling so broad and overwhelmed that you had no idea what to put in or how to organize it. Start with your master list, find a job or an internship that you want to apply for, and work from there. All right, cover letter positives. Overall, cover letters were much rougher, but there were some positives. Some of you did write excellent letters. I think they were well written, they sold you well. There were probably some little things here and there for me to consider for improvement, but overall, there were some great letters. It was mostly professional writing. You know, most of you kept a very professional and polished tone. Some of you really mastered that confidence to your letters to really sell yourself and get yourself that interview. So really overall, no one put anything in the letters that I would consider to be overtly inappropriate. Overall, solid grammar and spelling. It's easy to just rush off an assignment and not do spell check or grammar. There were some issues. I won't deny that, but there was nothing that was beyond. There was nothing too severe overall. So I was really impressed by the spelling and grammar that you guys paid attention to with your cover letters. Cover letter negatives. First of all, formatting. This was where I was frankly surprised and disheartened, because examples of cover letters were provided to you at several different points from Kristen Underwood, and they are posted on D2L. You can also find business letter formatting tips in the Waldeck et al. Textbook in Chapter 13 on professional writing. We may not have covered business letters explicitly in class, but as I said during our first class period, I cannot cover everything in lecture. It's up to you to read the book and to know the content of what you have to do in order to do well in this class. So please, look at business letters again, figure out how to format them appropriately, and do so. The formatting of a letter can make all the difference. There was often a disconnect between skills held and skills applied. So many of you listed that you were hard workers, you were organized, you had this experience going on, and that's great, okay? That's a great place. However, you need to be able to help your future employers see how those skills and experiences will be transferred and applied in the new business context. So how can you benefit them? Help them see that. So put yourself into that business, help them see where those skills have been demonstrated in the past. There was some lack of confident language. Remember that you're not necessarily walking up pleading for a job. You have to be able to say in some way, I deserve this job. I believe I would be an excellent addition to your team. Make a strong stance that you are the right fit for that position. Okay? Now there's all different ways we could talk about confident language, but really you just have to be able to say, I'm writing you because I know I can be a part of this. And in general, there was a lack of focused development. Again, potentially relating back to the lack of job postings. Now, again, that was not universal. Sometimes, even if a job posting was presented, the letters weren't fully developed. This disconnect between the skills held and skills applied, if you can start that skills applied portion and develop that further in your letter, that will help to create more focus. Overall, your cover letters at this stage could probably be half a page. Okay? Half a page is a fine place to be. A full page is even better. But in some way, many of you needed to develop those letters to a much greater degree. With that being said, I am going to allow a resume and cover letter redo. Not a total redo, mind you, but you will have an opportunity to make up some of the points that you missed out on. What I would like, no later than Friday, March 7th at noon, a resume and or cover letter redo. Submissions after this time will not be considered. What I'd like you to submit is a revised version of your cover letter and or resume to the original Dropbox. So where you put the resumes and cover letters before, put them there again. And I will let you earn up to half the points lost back. We had several perfect scores on the resumes and cover letters, so I do not think we were so far off that we need a total redo. However, I understand that maybe you missed the mark on the first time around, and this is an opportunity to make up some of those points. So how do you earn half of those points back? I would highly suggest looking at some of the resources that have been provided to you from the CDC. Maybe even take a visit to the CDC if you feel really lost on resumes and cover letters. However, if you feel like you could do it, if you had a template or a sample of some kind, here's what you can do. You can go to the content section of our D2L page. And what you'll want to do is make sure that you're in the additional daily readings module. Now, you'll remember back when we did the job interview section that I said I had additional optional readings. One of these was the CDC handbook. I uploaded the entire PDF for you. So if you open that up, you will have the entire job search handbook, which includes a sample resume. If you scroll down to page 35, you will find a sample cover letter. I would urge you to please use these resources when you do this revision process, okay? Please use those sample documents because they will help you in the long run. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, March 7th at noon is when the revised versions of the resume and cover letters are due.